positioned pretty much smack bang in the middle of my stance. So currently my sternum sits directly over the top of that golf ball, because during my downswing my sternum will slightly move to the left like it should do, and I would be hitting beyond the golf ball. So that's why my ball position wants to be there. With a 7-iron, now the ball position is just in front of my sternum, only slight, because the extra power, the more I'm going to be moving to the left, and again I'm going to strike beyond the golf ball with my 7-iron, but only because my sternum has actually moved to the left. Now with the driver, my sternum's behind, and I kind of want to keep it a little bit behind anyway. I slightly move to the left, but at the moment of contact, my sternum's still behind the golf ball, meaning that I hit up on the ball. So driver wants to be hit up, therefore the ball position goes forward. Now it depends, you might come over the top and hit down on the ball, therefore you might want your ball position even further forward, or you might hit too much from the inside and you might want your ball position a bit further back. But that's individual to you guys. But generally the ball position wants to be in front of your sternum for a driver, wants to be slightly in front of your sternum for a mid-iron, and getting slightly closer to your left foot as you move up, and in the middle of your sternum for a wedge, because the fact that the body weight is going to be moving to the left will change the way that these 3 golf clubs are going to hit the golf ball in relation to the bottom of their golf swings, if that makes sense. So let's go pitching wedge first. So, like I said before, the bottom of my golf swing is straight over the top of my sternum, but as I hit the golf shot, my sternum will move to the left, and I'm going to hit beyond the golf ball correctly with a wedge. So as I move the body weight to the left, I'm striking the ball first, and then the floor immediately after. Now if I had the ball position too far back and move to the left, well, I would hit a dreadful shot, because I would be hitting far too forward of the golf ball, or swing faults might creep in and I might start to lean backwards and try and scoop the ball up in the air. With a 7-iron, the ball this time is just in front of centre, because again the extra power generated in my golf swing will get me moving to the left, therefore keep the middle of my sternum hitting beyond the golf ball exactly like it should be doing, therefore I'm going to hit the ball first and the floor after. Each time I'm moving my body weight to the left to guarantee that quality of strike. Driver is ever so slightly different, and I've done videos on this before, iron versus driver swings. Irons are very much downward, driver can be a little bit more upwards. Not a great deal, not hugely upwards into the ball, but that's why the ball position goes more inside the left foot or in front of the sternum, because as I hit, my body weight is a little bit further back. I'm going to be hitting up on the golf ball as opposed to down. Therefore, if I had the ball position too central, the club would start to be hitting down.
Okay, let's talk about the grip. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, grip changes are never especially easy. A lot of people would find it a little bit uncomfortable. And it's true that whenever you change your grip, there's definitely going to be a knock-on effect with what happens to the ball flight. However, golf coaches are, by and large, nice people, and we wouldn't be changing your grip unless there was a real function and a purpose behind it. The idea with having a decent orthodox grip is that, first of all, you can get free range of motion in your wrist and your arm. You can see how my arm needs to turn and my wrist needs to hinge. If I get the club in the wrong place in my hand, say it sits in the palm, now this motion is greatly restricted, and that's taking speed off the end of the club. But as well as the speed of the club, we need to be able to control the face angle. If I put my hands a long way to the left of the handle, you can see now it's quite easy for me to turn the club to the right, but I'm really restricted in the way that the club turns to the left. So there's a real bias there. The club is more than likely now going to come through pointing to the right, and of course that's going to be causing a slice, or certainly a ball flight that goes to the right. If I had my hands on the other side, so both hands to the right of the club, well, now the opposite is true. I can't turn the club at all to the right, but it's very easy to wrap the club over to the left. And of course in that case I'm gonna hit a lot of low hooks to the left. So what we want is a club that sits in the right place in your hand, and also we need our hands in a position whereby they are what we'd call neutral, and that's in a position whereby we can twist the club easily both sides, and that way bring the club back to a square position more often than not. Okay, let's get this right. The best place to put your hands on the handle is definitely with the club held at waist height. And you'll see that I'm holding the club out in front of me and my top hand comes to the handle at about 45 degrees. The club touches my middle joint of my index finger and runs up to a point just above my little finger. And you'll see there I've actually drawn some lines on the glove so you can see where that fits. From here, your fingers will curl underneath the club, and the really important part in getting your left hand on the handle is this next move. My wrist and my forearm roll over the top of the club so that my left thumb sits down the right side of the handle and my wrist is right on top of the club. At this stage, if I were to drill down through your wrist, I'd want to split through the bottom joint of your wrist and hit the handle. We wouldn't want your wrist hanging off the edge here. That's definitely going to affect your movement. The right hand's pretty simple. That comes to the side of the handle again at about 45 degrees, mostly in your fingertips. My fingers curl underneath, while then my thumb curls around over the top. And you'll see how my left thumb sits neatly in this groove underneath my right thumb. That's a really secure, snug fit. From the top there, you'll see how my right thumb's sitting half on the handle and half on my finger. From underneath, you'll see that all my fingers are touching, with the possible exception of what we'd call the trigger finger, so my index finger of the right hand. The way you join the hands together, well, you've got three options there. You can either have all your fingers on the club, which is very orthodox and acceptable. You can overlap a finger into the gloved hand, or alternatively you can interlock those two closest fingers. All those methods are fine. The best thing to do really is to give them all a try and find out which one works best for you. The way to check that the club's in the right position in your left hand is like so. If the club's sitting in the right place, what you'll be able to do is let go with your bottom three fingers and also let go with your thumb. And at this stage, the club is beautifully balanced and I've still got control of the face because the club's trapped underneath my bottom wrist joint and trapped with the hook of my forefinger. And I can just close that up again and then place the right hand on the club. Other checkpoints are the V that's created between your thumb and forefinger, and on your left hand that wants to point up towards your right shoulder, and on my right hand you'll see there's a similar V or line which is running parallel with that of the left hand.
What I'm going to show you today is an exercise you can practice on your putting green, and it can really help with your distance control of your putting. Now, the problem I tend to see with distance control is people don't have a consistent length of swing, so a symmetrical swing either side of your body, and also a constant speed. So what we can do to help is a little bit of an exercise before you get going, and it involves some tees and it involves a few balls as well. What you do, you get yourself in your putting green, you make sure you pick a nice flat part of the green so your results are fair, and you take your setup, and from there I'm just going to put some tees down, but I'm going to put them on the width of my stance. So your stance will be pretty consistent during a round of golf, and I'm going to put a couple of tees down like so. That now gives me my symmetrical swing, gives me my constant swing. How I'm going to get the speed constant is, you can think of a ticking clock or something like that. So I'm going to think tick, tock, tick, tock. So T, T. I'm not going to look where the ball goes. If I look where it goes, I might affect my results. So I'm going to go tick, tock. Here's the next one. Tick, tock. Tick, tock. Okie dokes, that's pretty good going. So I take an average. Let's say my average is about there. And I'm now going to pace it out. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 6 paces. So what I'm looking for now on my next one is I'm going to make the swing a putter head wider outside. So that side of your putter, we're going to make it a little bit wider. Put some tees down again. And again, this is giving me that consistent and symmetrical length of swing. I'm going to keep the speed constant though. Again, I'm going to go 1, 2, or tick, tock. And let's see what results we see. Here we go. Tick, tock. Tick, tock. Tick, tock. Okay, putter down, let's have a look. If I take an average, So we were about 6 on the one before, so I've looked, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a little bit. So pretty close. So what you can see is if you make your swing about a putt head outside your feet, it roughly goes double, 2 putt heads triple, 3 putt heads quadruple, and so on and so on. So let's really put this to the test. I'm going to go miles away from this hole. It's roughly 24 paces, so that is about 3 putt heads outside my feet. So what I've done here, I've measured 3 putt heads outside my feet. I've put a couple of tees down. Still trying to keep the pace equal, so still thinking of tick tock, and let's see how I get on with this monster putt. Tick tock. Well, 10 out of 10 for the distance. Let's actually pick the line this time. Tick tock. Oh, that looks good. Oh, I like that. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Oh! How about that?
Finishing the swing off, we want to make sure that we've got the club in the correct follow-through position. Now, I don't want you to be too focused on this area really, because the actual position of it, we don't need to be too set in stone exactly where it gets to. You get lots of different golfers in different positions. Again, it relies on your physiology, your flexibility to get the club round. You'll see a lot of good players just taking the golf club round to a finished position here, where the golf club points pretty much anywhere down behind them into the floor in this area. As long as you're managing that, that would be plenty fine, that would be okay. What we want to avoid is stopping the golf club here too short, or having it pointing out sideways or pointing right up at the sky. So as long as the golf club comes over, you relax your hands and your arms, you finish and the golf club's pointing down at the floor, that would be fine. We often see a lot of the younger golfers, the more athletic golfers, being able to turn the club all the way around and get it pointing pretty much back down the target line right the way around them. That's maybe not something that we should all consider doing, so don't look at Tiger Woods or Michelle Wie and think, well, if they're doing it, I need to do it, and try and spin yourself around this way. It's a very, very difficult position to try and get hold of, so you don't need to worry too much about doing that. One good exercise for you with this one, we take 2 golf clubs together, just hold them very sort of loosely in your hands, but make sure you keep hold of them. Don't let them bang against the ground, so you keep them up in the air, and just swing them loosely, feel where they point to in the finish, and they're going to point somewhere down behind you to the ground. And that should be the position you're able to get to when you're only holding 1 golf club as well, but using 2 will just give you that added weight to balance the club all the way around to big full follow through, see where it points to, try and get that with your own swing.